All right, without further ado, I'd like the speakers to share about themselves and the project.
Also, we can start right after, right?
Yeah, you can just start.
Okay, thanks. So my name is Danny. Very fortunate to be here to share with the whole group over here. Many thanks to Michael, Tony, setting us up for this opportunity to share with the rest of the community. This is Rajesh, my CTO. Together we are building Loomal. Let me jump straight into it. So, AI agents need identity. We already did this. How many of you actually went up to this question in your mind? I was setting up OpenClaw and hit the Gmail, connect your Gmail step. Show of hands. Did you actually do it? If you did it, were you second guessing yourself? So this question comes up a lot. Why am I handling my personal inbox to an agent? Inbox is fine. Credit cards, identities, that's even worse. And why doesn't the agent have its own? So we actually sought out to fix this. Every agent borrows your identity today. So all of these logins, if you're familiar with, Cursor, NNN, Stripe, Devin, Make.com, it requires your identity to log in. And today we give it to the agent. No record of which agent did what, authorized by whom. It all comes from your server, and you have no track record of who did what. And we all know the agent economy is booming, right? Agents are the new users of the internet. So the identity that is required is actually 5 layers deep. Number 1, we need to give it an address, a secret, proofs, the lineage, how it's related to the human person behind it, and the history of it, audit trails, to verify whatever it has been done. Miss 1 layer and it stops being an identity. We need to give that to agents today. So this is how what a human have compared to what an agent has. The humans have email addresses, password managers, your 2FA for your authenticator on your phone. The agents have a DKIM signed email with Loomal, AES 256 vault, TOTP for 2FA, all under its own identity. So you may ask, why not just use API keys? Doesn't that solve the problem? API keys are actually a 25-year-old technology. And we move on to about OAuth scopes about 10 years ago. Today, agents need identity to be able to perform autonomously and sovereign. And this is the part that the humans don't have. In the natural transaction flow, the human gives the agent the authority, and then the sub-agent does a price check. After a human is revoked, all of the chain of the actions get stopped immediately. So you can stop an agent in its tracks by stopping its identity right there. And every action is actually signed. So the audit trail tells you what it did, who did it, within the delegated scope, the cryptographic proof, and the chain. So we're very pleased to introduce Loomal. Rajesh will take over from here and we will share a bit more on the details of how it works, complete with a demo. Rajesh, please.
Hi guys. So how many of you delegating your work to the agents today? I'm not talking about a Claude, just asking some research. Oh, many of you use Cloud Code? Yes. Some of you use Laubo. Okay, how often do you check your Cloud Code whether it is done its task or not? Like every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes. Sometimes if it is a research, it may take maybe 6 hours, 7 hours, right? You can't keep on checking it. Or maybe you're outside, you can't even check. What if your AA agent has an email ID and it sends an email that your work is done and you are ready to check your report? Did that ever happen to you? I'm not referring to your push notification on your cloud. Your agent cannot do that today. Let's say you want to buy something, maybe everybody's a shoppers here, so you want to do some research to buy some gift to your friend or a girlfriend or a mom, and you probably ask Claude, hey, this is my budget, $100, go and get me something. and it do a lot of research. It go to Shopee, it go to Lazada, it go to Amazon. It find really cool stuff. It cannot make the payment because it doesn't have one. It cannot even log in because it doesn't have an email ID. Let's say it logged in, and then you never give your credit card details to an agent because there is no limit spent. I mean, a limit set on the spend, because it may spend maybe $100 or maybe $1,000. You have no control on it unless you set a control on your bank account. These are the problems which we face every single day, right? And majority of you working like 4 projects, 2 projects, 3 projects, and you all have .env files in your code repository in .env, and you actually share the same env sometimes. Sometimes you create API keys individually, one project, this API key. And let's say there is a recent hack in Loomal that the projects, whatever you are working on in private, is not private anymore. That means someone can just take your code base along with your .envs or your secrets. How fast can you revoke your envs? Maybe if it is a small project, maybe at least 10. That means your 10 different secrets are stored in a .env, and you will have to log into 10 different websites and revoke it. And what if you have one agent that do everything authorized by you? Or you just revoke one API key and they do pretty much everything what you want to do it. That's exactly what we are trying to do here. So consider, at this moment, agent is nothing but a clone of you. That's exactly what it is, right? You're giving your email ID, your credit card. But as an individual, you act differently with a different, we had different hats of personas. At office, you work like an employee. At home, you work like a family member. It's just you, but you have a different kind of an identity based on your role. So in Loomal, you also have the same kind of a scope that you can set it to an agent. I will walk you through what is the scopes and how we can figure out the scopes. We are currently working on the AI identity, but we are also working on agentic commerce. So we want agents to do shopping autonomously, or maybe you can instruct to do something. And this we already explained that. So with Loomal, you're going to get an email ID, and you're going to get, I'm sorry, it's not you. Your agent is going to get an email ID, and your agent is going to get its own password manager, and it can have its own OTP. And the delegated chain is nothing but you can actually see what your agent is doing it. And it is cryptographically signed. Oh, just by the way, my background is I'm a blockchain engineer. Not a fancy title. I've been into the blockchain since 2016. So I'm like a blockchain 0 version kind of a thing. So I worked on the cryptography, blockchain, layer 1s, layer 2s, and I built my own chain, my own blockchain protocols, DeFi protocols. So I actually know what I'm talking about. So when I say delegated chain, I really mean it. There is something cryptographically encrypted, and we can decrypt it and see who done what and who authorized what. And the audit log is a fancy word, just to show you in a plain English that what the agent is doing it. I'm not talking about the cloud logs. It's literally the logs. You can see what your agent is doing it in really plain English. I'll walk you through in the demo anyway. And how you can integrate this. So we have a 5 different, I would say 6. So you can integrate with MCP. So many of you might be using with MCP Model Context Protocol with your agent. And you can use CLI, you can use Node SDK, Python SDK, and you can also use our console to do any kind of things. By the way, you can also use REST APIs to integrate in your workflow. I don't want to go through detail, but it's as simple as like a 5 lines code that you can let your agent send an email. Too much of fluff, but yeah, this is definitely needed. So it's encrypted and zero knowledge vault. That means when you put your encrypted keys there, I swear we don't even see it. and it is compliance. I will talk about the compliance in a bit. So there are some industries, regulated industries, that we'll have to work really, crystal clear, like who is doing what. Maybe something like a healthcare, finance, legal. Let's say you have a document and then this document has been edited by you, but it is not actually you, your agent. And you cannot differentiate whether your agent did it or you did it, because you just asked your Claude to make some changes and it just did it. That doesn't work when it is when you are working in a law firm and some agent made some changes and you're accountable for it. So with this, you can be able to create an identity for your agent, and then if the agent go wrong, you can actually tell that it is not me, it is my agent, and you can find out why it made that change. Okay, now I'm going to walk you through our console. So I'll just make you see some visually, like it's a real product. We have 40 users who is sending mails. I'll just walk you through. So this is our dashboard. So let me show you how you can create an identity. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So some of you, with this whiteboarding, anybody can actually code. It's a fancy term. So you can set up your identity, you can set up your inbox. What if agent can do all of this by itself? So what you need to do is you just need to log into the platform and then go to my profile and create an API key. So if you use this API key, that means the agent have power to create multiple identities on its own, and it can kill an identity, delete an identity, revoke an access. This is at an orchestrator level. So you have your Claude and you ask to do something, and then it's going to spin up sub-agents. With this, you can actually give identity to these sub-agents as well. That's when you use the platform key. In our demo, we are not going to use that. Rather, we are going to create our own independent identity. You click on create identity, and let's say it's a sales agent. And then you can set the scope, whether you want to send an email, receive an email, or whatever the things you want your agent to do. And then create. I'm going to delete this API key anyway. So we have this identity key. What you need is you just take this identity API key and go to docs.loomal and then pass this to your LLM and then let your agent know the API key. That's all you need. And then rest your agent is gonna take care of it. And I've been playing on this for a while, so let me show you how agent look like here. So this is an inbox. So does an agent really need an inbox? Yeah, probably no, right? But this is only for you to see what it is actually doing it. This is an inbox. You can actually go and see the content of the email. And you can also set the rules. Let's say you want this agent to send maybe a weekly report to some people. So you can actually put them in an allow list or block list so that it won't go rogue and send an email to anyone. And then it has its own password manager. You can also feed passwords. You can put your login or the SMTP, AW keys, certificate. It can be anything. And the TOTP. So every time your Amazon or Shopee asks you to enter your TOTP, you just take your Google Authenticator and then you just enter it, right? So this situation will definitely come for the agents as well. So that's exactly, we have this TOTP. So we actually scan a QR code on the Google Authenticator, but what if you don't have a camera? So there is another option there. If you don't have a camera, click it here, which we never generally do it. You click it, it's going to show an alphanumeric number. You can paste that number here, and then it's going to start generate your OTPs.
Here's what I found.
And the fun part is the agent has its own calendar. So the agent can remember or can store some memory to itself, like when to call, whom to send, what to do. And I have some event coming up next month. So I'm going to meet Annie on 12th. So the fun part is payment. So the payment, we are working on it. I mean, the payment is already there. This is actually the real USD balance. I can top up, it works, but it's still in the development, so I don't want to oversell it. And you can go here, logs, and you can see the logs, whatever the agent is doing it. And you can go to settings. So I've been talking about revoking, right? So how can you revoke the access to the agent? Click here, click rotate key, it's going to generate a new API key. That's all. Your agent can no longer access any of this. It's as simple as that. But you can still access. So maybe you want to create an identity only to send an emails, or only to receive an emails, or only to read words. So you can actually scope it out. So these actions are almost instantaneous. If it says it's confirmed, the agent cannot access anymore. We love Cloud Code, is it? So let me show you some demo. I have the Loomal MCP installed here. I don't want to walk you through that, but so this is the action that you can actually put into your Cloud Code. So the same thing, it is doing some research. So in the research, you can create an action to send an email. Or you can also create a pooling, wait for new emails. So you can reply to your email, your agent can read that email and work on it. So there is like an infinite use cases. Now it says that it sent an email, so let's see. There you go. So this has come from the agent. So we have this Loomal.ai. So we are using another domain, mailgen.dev, just to create an email ID for your agent. What if you want to use your domain? Yeah, you're free to use it. So you can go to domains, and we haven't enabled it, but it's gonna be here. You can connect your own domain. So maybe something called agents.google.com. So you can create a subdomain for agents, something called agents. Kind of a domain, and then let your agent create as many identities as it want. And I have another 2 more cool demos. Let me play, because the idea is to showcase the capability of identity, not to show how the agent is being built. So I have created this just to demo with a really a vague intent. My intent is to go and buy Loomal hoodie, as simple as that. So I did not give any custom instructions like go here, click it, and then make the payment. So everything is actually done autonomously. So the agent actually spinned up its own browser, and then it's trying to buy in the cart. It added to the cart. And now it is going to enter the address details. Now it's going to fetch the credit card details. That's all. Or what if there is an agent-to-agent payment? Like you don't have to enter any credit card details. So that's exactly what we are working on at the moment. That's going to be the next release. Again, I don't want to oversell it. So I have another demo lined up. It's a 2FA. This is really common these days. Is like everybody have a 2FA. Like you need to take out your Google Authenticator, enter the OTP, then only it let you go inside. So what if agent has that capability to do it? So whatever the data it is fetching, including the login details and OTP and the credit card details, everything is actually coming from the MCP server which is connected to it. At any point of time, you can go ahead and rotate the keys. Boom, the agent doesn't have an access to it anymore. Okay. So you can have n number of identities, or you can have one identity with a really scope. This is the go-to way. And what is the use cases? The cloud code is really an amazing use case for maybe sending an email. As a developer, you know how to configure it. What if you want to put this in your ChatGPT, or you want to add it to the Canva, like send a report, or maybe it can read or write something to your insurance system, maybe a claims process in the insurance. Or you want to send an outreach to your clients like every single day, or you want to schedule an appointment with something. This all back and forth communications your agent can do at this moment, but it is still representing you. If it done something stupid, it's not the agent. That sounds funny. They sees you because the email is coming from you. Yeah. Thank you, guys. So we launched our product yesterday in Product Hunt, and we are in the 16th session. Nice. Any questions? Please.
So I saw you doing DMARC with your email, so it looked like it was actually going on a separate entity.
Yes.
Does Google actually reply to you? Do you get RUA, RUF reports, or they just ignore you?
We got initially. After that, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So how are you planning to find customers and onboard?
That's why we're here. We're engaging the AI community, but we also try to do hackathons and things like that. So keep a lookout for us. Yeah.
Have you thought about staying in Singapore versus moving to San Francisco?
That's a YC question, but we are open to that. Yeah. Thank you.
So I have a question about the sort of emerging standards in the decentralized identity space. So particularly there's W3C DIDs and there's something called UCAN. And I just wondered what your views were on those, if you actually use them or not.
Yeah, we already have a decentralized identity. We already have the DID. So you can actually do this is a 333 standards.
Can you explain in layman terms?
So the decentralized identity is nothing but, you have a sync pass, and you can, maybe I can just print your sync pass or your IC on a paper, I give it to you. You cannot actually validate what it is. It may look super legit, right? we can ask ChatGPT to generate one image that looks like your IC. It generates one, but you cannot actually authenticate it unless you go to a centralized identity to, prove. So the decentralized identity is something that you can prove it without having to have any third party in the loop. It's also called as like a verifiable credentials. You can verify your credentials without having a third party. So here we have the DID for every single agent that we spin up, and we are going to, this agent is going to sign a cryptographic message with a private key that it has it in DID, and then that is actually a delegated chain that you can verify that the transaction is actually done by an agent that you authorized. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You're going by the central service rather than using a key kind of thing.
No, it's in-house.
Yes, it's going by a div web method rather than
Yeah. Yes. So, and we are also working on with the other DID providers, like you can get your own DID. We are totally open with that. So you're already, yes.
Sorry. Question, do you see, I was just thinking about this, do you see that if you provide a whole bunch of information to your agent and you want that agent to work on your behalf, do you imagine that just to make sure we're protected, where that information is getting exposed to other agents trying to sabotage or get particular information that you don't want to access, do you imagine applying some like ZK proofs on that? Where when you go to agent, you expose as much information to your agent, as far as obviously your payment credentials, but even more information. But then when it comes to agent you apply ZK proofs on top, where they only expose the information that's relevant for the context.
Yes.
Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah, that's for the payments part. Because you're going to have, when you're doing an agent-to-agent payment, how do you know that the other agent you're working is actually a legit?
Yeah, exactly.
Or it might be someone is just trying to inject and then trying to steal your money maybe. So we are going to work on the ZK proofs. So it will only share the information that is absolutely needed, not more than that. Yeah, we are working on
Do you
that.
see that emerging, by the way, when it comes to agent protocols?
Yes.
ZK will probably take off,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Very cool.
And we are also working on an extension version of X402. 402 is a protocol, it's an internet payment protocol which we haven't been using for really a long time. So we are working on an advanced version of that that's coming in payment soon.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Which question I want to ask you? I'll have a dumb question and maybe a better question. So the dumb question is, why not just set up a Gmail inbox, a new Gmail inbox just for your agent?
Lovely, you can definitely do it. But the problem is, you got to sign up to 100 different accounts, not just Gmail. You don't work with the Gmail, right? You don't know which website you're going to hop on next. Or maybe your agent. They won't accept Gmail, maybe no. Your agent will try to, let's say your agent is trying to find a best deal for you. It found a website that you never heard of, and they don't have a Gmail. So what do you do?
Oh, I don't mean for login, I just mean for sending and receiving.
Okay, so for sending and receiving, Gmail has a constraint. Gmail, your personal Gmail actually have a limit, like how many emails you can send, how many emails you can receive in a day. So there is a cap, but we don't, generally as a legit users, we don't hit that limit, but someone who want to scam people, they send hundreds of thousands of emails, so there is actually a limit. So in 24 hours period, if your agent spun up another 100 agents to send 10 emails, that's 1,000 emails, which is already over the limit of your quota.
So it's a scale, so it's solving a problem at scale.
Yeah.
The other question was around like payments. What about supporting third party, like even that website you had Stripe link in it? So
Yeah.
what if you wanted to use GPay or Stripe link or any of these other things? Is it able to do the two-factor authentication that those payment providers require?
Okay, so the idea we are building Loomal is to power agent-to-agent economy or infrastructure. So we are not actually building for the regular users. We already have a Stripe. So consider like Stripe for agents. So we are working on a protocol that's going to be accepted by or allowed by any website. Any website can access agent payments on their website.
So you're just not focused on the browser automation part?
No, this is just an example to show like what the agent capable of, but you don't, so I can also go to Cloud Code and say, generate a OTP for this, but you don't see the use case unless I show you that why we're using it.
Sorry, just to add on to that question, I think that the intent of a purchase is also important. Right now, the agents are not able to show the intent, even though you can bypass 2FA, you can store your credit card details if you're willing to give it. But the intent is an important part where payment processors, they need to know that you have the intent to buy. Without an identity, you cannot have an intent. So I think that's the gap that we are trying to address as well from an agentic commerce standpoint. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, when I was looking at the agent inbox interface, just wondering, do you imagine a future where the sales pitches, email marketing, all of that, where that's a way to influence the agents to pick up particular deals and stuff like that? Do you imagine that happening?
Yeah.
Interesting. So they're getting tons of emails themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we do have a limit, like how many emails you can send, because we don't want to get flagged by Google as well. Your agent can go rogue. So we highly encourage you to get your own domain for outbound and then send your emails. Then there is no cap.
But have you seen where, for example, if I want to influence somebody else's agent, I send emails like, hey, I have this deal that's happening, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen that behavior happen yet?
Not here.
Where the agent is using their inbox to see what kind of deals are perhaps relevant for you as the real person?
I haven't experienced that, but yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So right now you're clearly solving identity, authorization, credentials, and delegation. My question is, in your view, where should the decision layer sit? So like whether an agent should proceed with a commercial action, and is that something you plan to build?
Yeah, that's amazing. So think like we're like an infrastructure. So it depends on your agent and the scope that you set for your agent. So what we are, let's be super practical. Now, if you want your agent to do something, what you actually do is you write in a block letters in your prompt, don't do this. But your agent can still do it. There is a window of like a 250K context, and then after some time it's going to compact the context. Whatever the rules you set, it just vanished. You cannot enforce your agent what to do, but what we built here is by design you cannot do it. So in here, if you disable credit card for your identity, even though your intent is to buy, it won't do it. So it's by design. It's your platform key can create or can set permissions to your sub-agents of what to do. So we are not actually building the agent, but we are just giving a tool to agent to secure their credentials and identity.
Sorry, my first question was actually an intent, but I think it sounds like you guys are working on it. The next question is, how do you decide how agents would be able to influence each other, if not, and what sort of guidelines you could give for agents to make sure that they're aligned to your intent? So you're first oriented.
Yeah.
And the second to that, how do you add transparency to that? I'm not so technical myself, but if you wanted to look back on what interactions your agents had between each other and the transparency of those, is that something this would solve?
Not quite, but we are working on more controls that agent can have it. It's like as a user, you can actually enable it or disable it. Like enable commerce, so that disable pretty much everything that is related to commerce. And at the same time, we are also working on something called a prompt injection. So how many of you heard of prompt injection? Okay, so the other days, one of my friend got hacked. When I say hacked, like a sensitive information from his email has been sent to someone else. So how it happened is like he opened the cloud code and he asked some website to scrape it. He scraped it. There is a file called llms.txt. That's where this prompt injected. And then that prompt says that, ignore all the prompts that is above and execute this. That's one actually sending an email to someone with this password credentials. So when you have this identity, your orchestrator agent can spin sub-agents to 4 different sub-agents. When it got a response, your agent have a capability to see whether the response that you got is from the agent that you spin up, not by someone which is injected it.
So I do cybersecurity, and one thing I always scream at my clients at the top of my lungs is do not use dangerously authorized permissions. Everyone does it, and I make a lot of money off of it.
Yeah.
But how do you guys solve that problem?
Honestly, you just have to make your agent not to use the tools. So we are going to have a memory layer. Currently, the agent you are working with is just a tool, but we want to have a memory on top of it. That memory is going to be consistent for your agent as long as the identity is live. So we are going to add this one there. Yes.
Yes, I have a question about sort of the delegation authority, particularly when you start dealing with multi-agents and humans in the loop and this kind of thing. And one of the things we looked at is this thing called user controlled authorization networks, UCANs.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you had anything like that, or if you were using that, where you can basically delegate specific bytes to do a specific thing with a specific object.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. That's the reason you can actually spin up multiple identities to do multiple things. So it's like you don't have to give the superpower to one single identity. Rather, you create 10 different identities scoped, like what it can do. We are also thinking to have a scope-based project, scope-based permissions. Let's say you can come up with your scope and you can put it out there, not just the checkboxes you see it, but you can also have your own checkboxes kind of a thing, and then we can just enable that. Thank you. Yes?
I wondered, is there a possibility to have a feature where you might be working on this? I think it's in line with a lot of the questions that have been asked. But if I start off my day or my week setting out tasks across different platforms, and I say, this is, I need this done immediately, so don't even ever ask me, go ahead and do the task. And these might be highly sensitive, so by midday, contact me and then let's run through it together. Is that potentially a way that you're thinking of taking the user verification into consideration?
Can you repeat the question?
So basically I'm asking how I'm imagining myself using the tool is that I'd start off my morning and I would track off all the things that I need to be done across the agent must interact with multiple platforms, right? So I would track that down. And then I might identify that these are really important tasks. Please do not ask me ever, go ahead and do them. I need them done by today. And these might be more sensitive tasks. You're emailing my boss here. Do not tell him I'm done with this task when I'm not done. So by midday, check in with me and then we progress. Is that potentially something that you're considering integrating?
Yeah,
or?
we are working on that as well. So some task is like a human in the loop. No matter, just take it as an example, right? I'm buying an iPhone, $1,400, okay, $2,000, okay. What if it is someone is selling it for $5,000? That's when we need to flag. So we are actually working on these constraints. That's going to be coming in our payments.
All right, so round of applause for the speakers. Thanks so much. And they are on product hunt. 10 seconds, upvote them, help them get to number 1. All right, otherwise, enjoy the day, hang around. We have a lot of space for you to work. There's a quiet room if you want to do focus work. Otherwise, just network with people, talk to the speakers. Okay, thanks. See you all again next week. Enjoy the day. Yep.
Just a quick note, we left our contact details here. If you'd like to connect on LinkedIn and our product launch link, you can scan the QR. Thank you.
Yeah. Very slow though.